Alchemize your energy. Darling, let your spirit be free. Don't give up, keep on pushing through. Now is the time, it's all up to you. Alchemize your energy, my friend. Let your spirit be free. Don't give up, keep on pushing through. Now is the time, it's all up to you. No matter the storm, but over tragedy. No matter the storm, but over tragedy. No matter the storm, we will always take flight. Keep on pushing through the darkness of night. There's no limit, let's reach for the sky. Shine so bright, from darkness to light.
What's up? What's up? What's up to the Ani Osaru family as well as the Alchemizing Energy family? We're doing another joint live. Today, this is our first time doing this live. I wanted to introduce myself. My name is DJ Genesis. I am also known as Alchemizing Energy. So I wanted to first get to let you guys know how me and Ani met. So we were actually I was watching a show late at night with Tariq Nasheed, and I actually was a guest on there really quick, and I asked a question. He was talking about the Olympics, y'all. He was talking about how the lady got up there during the Olympics and was embarrassing herself. You know, she was dancing wild, she looked crazy. And he was saying, this is not cool. They're tethering off of our original thing and this at the other, and they're taking over breakdancing. And I got up there and I had a rebuttal, and I also had a question. And this is how I actually got introduced to Ani. So let's get into that real quick.
So, we really need that hate crime bill. And that's another thing I would like to talk to them about, Trump and Kamala. I want to holler at them about that. DJ Genesis, what's happening?
Hello, Tariq. I'm so glad to be here. So I wanted to make a statement and then ask a question. So the statement I wanted to ask first, is that the hip hop movement has been taken over when the Asians took over the DJing and scratching that was happening. And at first it was mostly African FBAs that were running that, and then it became dominated by the Asians, and they also have dominated the actual dancing now too. And then France, the reason why France is so big and it became a thing in the Olympics was because France has the dancing battles over there, and they've been keeping that dancing thing alive in Europe and things like that.
Right.
We abandoned that whole thing, so it's kind of weird to be mad about it when we abandoned it, and now they've kept it alive, and now we're mad. So that's the only.
Well, the thing is, and I've seen some of the competitions over there in France. So they managed to put some cool up rock stuff in there, and they keep it rhythmic. But I get what you're saying. Yeah, they do have a lot of those competitions over there. But again, when they're putting this thing on the world stage, and they're not acknowledging the people who created it, even though we don't do the floor moves like that as foundational Black Americans, this is still something that we created, and we created it for a reason. We didn't create it for some goofy Australian woman to make a damn mockery out of it. You know what I'm saying?
Right, exactly.
Jumping around like a goddamn kangaroo and all of that bullshit.
Well, she actually did better in her actual, what she was trying out for the Olympics. I don't know why she did what she did once she actually got on the stage. That was wild.
No, there's no justification for what she did. My children can dance better than what she did on that damn stage. There's nothing to justify that. She shouldn't have never been nowhere near that. And I've seen some other videos of her. She's not that good nowhere. There's nothing good about what that woman does. Nothing. She should not have been nowhere near an Olympic stage. She shouldn't have been nowhere near a talent show locally. She's horrible. So that's what it is. Where do you DJ, by the way, Genesis?
I'm from Detroit, so I DJ a little bit of everything. But I started off as a techno, and techno comes from Detroit Black people. And I started off as a techno DJ, traveling around the world, being a techno DJ, and then now I just DJ everything.
So. Oh yeah, that Shari Bari songs and all that was big in Detroit.
Shari Bari. Yeah.
Oh, that was
but I started off as a scratch DJ, like an actual. That's how I know, because I started off being an actual DJ that did the beat mixing and all that stuff like that. But then it became dominated by the Asians, and you couldn't necessarily beat them because most of the DMC competitions would end up in Asia, and it was weird. Like, and then they had this. It was weird how they just.
Have you worked with radio stations out there in Detroit?
Yeah, yep. I worked with WJLB. Yep.
Oh, they're still around. JLB is still around.
They back. I'm old. I'm
46. Oh, yeah. You remember Mojo?
Yeah, Electrify Mojo. Yes, for sure.
What happened to him?
Well, I think that when the program directors came into the fold, because he would be able. The thing was, he was always a record breaker. He would.
He was. He broke a lot of prints in the time and all that.
With Clear Channel took over and Radio One, they got program directors, and then program directors like kind of took over, and you could no longer just pick the record. So it got rid of like DJs like him that were known for like just like playing and breaking records. So So. But I have a question too that's a little bit like off subject.
Go ahead, dear.
So I've been a Pan-Africanist for over like, dang near almost 20 years. And I got introduced into it by Sarah Sutton-Seti. I'm not sure if you know him.
I know Seti's out there in Detroit. Shout out
of course, right. I was actually his web developer of the Black Power Cartel website. So I became into African spirituality, and now I practice Ifa. Most recently, the king of the Oyotunji village passed away, and it was like the first African village that existed on American soil, the actual Yoruba African village. He was like a king, the only king in America, and he just recently passed away July 29th. Do you think with this FBA movement, do you think that this marks the end of Pan-Africanism and the death of like the whole Pan-Africanism movement? Pan-Africanism were in most of your actual Hidden Colors movies. I watched all of them. So where do you think Pan-Africanism fits into the FBA movement? Is it dead? What do you think?
Well, the thing is, was Pan-Africanism really alive? Because it's been one-sided all this time. See, it was never really, to be honest, it was never a big thing. It's been something that we've been fantasizing about. It's been something that we, on this side, we've been really promoting. But we just woke up and just got very honest. Because in warfare, you just got to be honest about warfare. We've been the only ones upholding the mantle of Pan-Africanism against the system of white supremacy, because we understand white supremacy because we're living among the major white supremacists. Some of the African brothers and sisters and Caribbean brothers and sisters, because there's a black face on white supremacy. They know how to put black puppet leaders over there. They don't look at white supremacy the way we do. And in fact, many of them, we just got to be very honest, they low-key worship white people. White people are damn gods when they show up. And we got to really understand that we can't get any Pan-Africanism out of that. That's why we can't get nothing going on the continent over there in large numbers. When we try to go over there and build something, we got to go over there with a gang of money, and black folks are going over there getting finesse left and right. So it's a vibe. It's a real bad vibe, man, that we said, hey, enough is enough. We're going to focus on building what we got over here, getting our stuff together. Because another thing, we think that there's some kind of white supremacy free area that we can eventually go to, and Africa is not that. The Caribbean is not that. These were places that were colonized, remixed, and their history is shorter than ours. We think that they got some kind of missing history that we got to be a part of. No, they've been remixed more than we have. We are more deeply rooted over here than they are there. Our history is more deeply rooted and rich. Those countries are relatively new. They've been colonized over and over and over again, remixed over and over again. These tribes have been mashed up together. So nobody really knows their real origin stories over there no more. Again, when we brought Hidden Colors over there, a lot of that information was new to them too. They didn't know a lot of that information about the history of those African nations.
So that was me on their Tariq Nasheed's show, and that's how I got in touch with Ani. He saw me on the show. He wanted to help me to learn some things about the Oyotunji village that he knew, and he actually had some even more enlightening things, and we decided to kind of co-do the show together. And I really, first I wanted to give a rest in peace to the Oba of the Oyotunji village for he passed away. It was a very terrible thing. But I want to bring up our special guest for this evening, Ani Osaru. Thank you for joining.
Peace. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, sir.
Yeah. In actuality, Tariq Nasheed has been a mentor for me for the longest. I always tell people that what he did with Hidden Colors was amazing in introducing us to more sides of the heritage of our melanated ancestors. So, you know, I'll get in contact, and we actually are supposed to be doing business with each other, getting in the mold of joining up and getting things done together instead of being in conflict, being in disagreement. So I thought it was a good opportunity, seeing that you had a platform yourself, to come on and speak about things and touch on things that people probably don't have a lot of information about. So it was a pleasure getting in contact, speaking with you, and doing this show today. So salutes to you.
Thank you so much. Yes. So I am a Pan-Africanist, and well, you know, and now I'm finding out more that I guess I might be more FBA. I never really was into titles or into groups or anything, but you know, I've never been in like gangs. I've never been in the Crips, Bloods, the Masons, the this, that, the other. So, but I guess you know, I'm kind of like, you know, I guess I'd like more and more about this FBA movement thing. I'm starting to actually see what they're talking about, and when we talked about the Oyotunji and things, you kind of enlightened me about how it seemed to be that that place was starting to be on like the decline anyway,
Yeah.
as a whole, and that you know because you're from South Carolina, correct?
Yes, I'm from Columbia, South Carolina. And I used to be in a partnership of owning a herbal shop out here. So we would frequently have different people from around South Carolina come to the shop, whether they need bulk supply or just talking about what's going on in different communities here. So yeah, we hear about that village. You know, it wasn't nothing real positive about the village that was going on, and it was a frequent type thing that was occurring. You know, I won't put all of the information and basis of what was happening there, but basically they had a lot of stuff going on,
Mm.
and it wasn't a surprise to me when you covered the story. I knew immediately what's going on. Boy, I got my son up in here.
Mm.
It was it wasn't a surprise to me when I got that, you know, the information of what happened there, because there was somebody that told me there was some things coming down the pipeline, you know, based on how they were handling their business there. So yeah, so it's not a surprise to me at all.
Yes. So you know when we talked yesterday, you talked about that there was a lot of spiritual aspects that were going on within a lot of like African spirituality, like the way that the things are looked at. It's kind of attaching itself to certain spirits. I wanted to like get your background in spirituality. What things do you practice? I know you mentioned gematria. You have a book called Eradication of Mind Tricks in a Mind Control Society. I want to get some more information on you from a spiritual perspective. What kind of practices do you practice? And then like kind of get into your theories on like certain like spirituality.
Yeah, I have a book called The Blueprint of Darkness. And yeah, that's the actual subtitle, How to Eradicate Mind Tricks in a Mind Control Society. And in actuality, I wrote that book back in like 2017 and came out 2018, and I was covering Jaleel.
Ah, hey, little monkey.
I was
Mine's
covering
kind of coming here too. So just mine's might come in here too and be talking. So
yeah, it's fine. But yeah, I was covering from a Christian perspective how spirituality from the ancestral point of view, and uncovering esotericism and occultism of our metaphysical cultures that go back to ancient civilizations was very present, even biblically. I wanted to give a book on showing people a beginning basis of how things unraveled from that point of view, mythologically, down into the Christian, pre-Christian base, which is called Gnosticism. And Gnosticism is what you get prior to Christianity, and nobody wants to talk about it. That was the heresies they were burning at the cross, because they kind of like stole pieces of their spirituality. And when they formed the Council of Nicaea, they put pieces of that, pieces of Judaism, pieces of Islam, pieces of Egyptian stuff, Babylonian stuff, and they just put it all together and made them something. Paul and Josephus put it all together. So I wanted to give people a basis of how that came together, and tell them that metaphysics and esotericism, spirituality is a strong basis that we should be looking into and it belongs to us. It's a great basis of research for anyone, and it is the foundation of what spirituality is. So that's how I got into that aspect. Nowadays, I do gematria, which is Kabbalistic numerology. For instance, numbers are very important. Numbers are the symbols of vibrations, and the spin rate of each vibration details a different symbol. So that's why we have to have the iconography for different numbers. So breakdancing, and just to go back to the start of the show, equals 89 in gematria, in the one of the 4 base ciphers. So breakdancing equals that. And here, take Spider-Man. And the woman.
Also, I want to say, if you need to show your screen, or you want to display something, let us know. I mean, you can just let me know, and I'll put it up. So.
Oh yeah, it's fine. I didn't even prepare graphics for that specifically, but I will be having something real soon. But I could show them a gematria cipher in a second, though, if they want to look into that. But no, it's just real simple. A equals 1, B equals 2, C equals 3. So if there's 26 letters in the alphabet, that means that Z would equal 26. That's the first cipher. That's English ordinal. So if you add up those letters, breakdancing, if you put them all together, you're going to get 89. And the breakdancing in the Olympics started on the date August 9th, 8/9. So now you understand why they had breakdancing on August 9th, because the word breakdancing numerologically equals 89. This is a science from Judaism, it's mysticism in the Kabbalah that people do not know, or they don't understand that it runs the entire world. It corresponds with actors, it corresponds with dates, it corresponds with astrology. Yeah, that's another calculator. If you can go to occultdecode.com, OCCULT, that's the calculator that we use. It's Jewish gematria, it's Hebrew gematria. You can use it, but it's not, real accurate of what they utilize. But yeah, so breakdancing equals 89, and it came out.
You said occult.com? Occult
decode.com. That's the calculator. Yeah, there we go. So you show all ciphers. So yeah, put breakdancing in. You got to erase "You Are Amazing." That's Thomas. Thomas just wanted to let you know you are amazing. All right, you see ordinal? It's like the third one. Click that. It's to your left. It's on the numbers. Look at the numbers. It says ordinal. Yeah, click that. Okay, now click the 34. Get rid of that. Click no, the number, not the just like how you click ordinal just now. Yeah. All right, there you go. So you see how ordinal is the first cipher. You see how that equals 89. Breakdancing started on 8/9. Ordinal is the most basic cipher that they use. So if you look in the news every day at a headline, you will see a number correlated to ordinal, reduction, reverse ordinal, and reverse reduction, the 4 main ciphers, like fire, water, air, and all the elementals and stuff. It's like the 4 base cipher. So this is like what they utilize in gematria on a day-to-day basis to control the world. They control it through numbers. Even the top Masonic lodge, if people understand Freemasonry, the Freemasonic lodge in I think it's Virginia or Washington D.C. is the biggest Freemasonic lodge. On the top of the lodge, it says, "All is number. All is number." And once we begin to understand that, then we really break into the spirituality of everything. So that's just a basics of understanding what this thing is.
Wow, so that's pretty interesting. I never knew that existed. So I'm glad that I ran into you, that you could explain that, because I never would have knew to look at that. So
yeah, Yeah, and let's go a little bit further. If you look at the Sonya Massey killing, I broke that down. Matter of fact, my video on Twitter is still viral of me connecting the gematria to it. She died on 7/6. Her name equals 76. The other, what was the woman that looked like her from Texas? Everybody was saying, what was the name of? Because we did a video on it, the Sonya Massey ritual. Whatever woman that looks like her that was murdered in the early 2000s from Texas.
What's her name?
You guys put it in the chat. Sandra Bland, thank you.
Sandra
Sandra
Bland.
Bland, yeah, their birthdays is like 76 days apart. They're like 76 days. And look, Negro, the word Negro equals 76. The word Negro equals 76. Her ancestor, I forgot his name, I think it's William Donegan. He was lynched in the same place that she died at in Springfield, I think, Illinois or Ohio, one of those places. He was lynched in the same area as the place that she was killed by that police officer. And when he was lynched, that was the beginning of the NAACP. That riot in Springfield was the beginning of NAACP, and he died at 76 years old. So you got Negro equals 76. She died 7/6. All of this stuff correlates to numerology and how they hold the world together on a basis of connecting the mythology, or the mythoposis is the correct term, of these happenings. Not to say that, because people will say, well, she really did die, so it's not really, something mythological, but you got to understand that they sacrifice people for energy, as we may know. Even in African spirituality, you'll see the sacrifice of chickens or different animals to get the inertia, the electromagnetism flowing on the side of magic and dark black magic occultism. They do the same thing to celebrities and different political figures or different public figures or people randomly in society. They'll use their name, and they sometimes are MK Ultra experiments from the government. People don't even know they were born to be a magical experiment. So what we cover is showing people, put the conspiracy aside. Let me show you the numbers, because men lie, women lie, but numbers don't. And if I can show you a pattern of the numbers, then I can show you that these things are put together. But that's just going a little bit deeper of what I'm explaining.
Okay, so yeah, so you guys, again, this is called the Occult Decode website, and it's called Gematria, and he said go to the ordinal, and it will show you the number, and based on that, does it explain what it means, or do you have to how do you know what it even means? How do you figure out?
Well, now we're getting into the advanced hood of the classes. You guys will have to come to my Patreon, patreon.com/THE_spiritual shade room. And we teach classes every day on what the numbers mean. We go more in depth and show you the history of the numbers throughout of how they utilize it.
Okay, is that correct? Patreon.com/the spiritual shade room.
No, the spiritual shade room has a hyphen in between it, so it's the_spiritual shade room.
Okay.
Well, not a hyphen, a underscore between the and spiritual shade room. And we have classes every other day. We just had a Tuesday roundtable discussion where we covered the entire Olympics, the closing ceremony. Yes, that's correct. And we showed how the symbolism, there's always something with the symbolism. And we have other people come up and share their thoughts on what they think about the symbolism that's being shown. And if you come to class, you'll get a lot of knowledge, on a day-to-day basis. You'll learn a whole lot about what's happening in this world and why they're doing what they're doing. Go back in there with mama.
So what's the difference between, so what would you consider yourself to be a Hebrew Israelite?
No. No.
So like why would the Hebrew be more significant than any other form of numbers?
The Hebrew. I don't remember if I said that. That was incorrect. I didn't.
I thought you
Hebrew.
said that there was isn't Gematria a Jewish mysticism thing that is
Yes, it's Jewish mysticism.
well
Um,
said
it's it's
Jewish
it's
Hebrew.
it's Kabbalistic. The
Kabbalistic.
origin is Kabbalistic.
So what is Kabbalistic?
Kabbalah is the mysticism of like the Torah, the Talmud, these Jewish books, the Book of the Jews. It's
Mm-hmm.
the mystic metaphysical side of showing how God built the universe using words, numbers, and letters.
Okay. So
So
do you find, because from what I understand is that you had different societies. You had the ancient Egyptians, you had the Jewish Hebrew. I mean, and then you had like the Sumerians
yeah,
and the agnostics, and you had all these different like religions that were kind of and growing Abrahamic, all happening in the same area at the same time. And then a lot of the priests who fled ended up coming to West Africa, and then they brought like some of those other things, like when you get into Ifa and you get into Palo, you get to all these other different like things that those priests brought to those areas, which are different uh, things of this. They're different types of the same thing. You know what I'm saying? It all
yeah,
the knowledge is from the same place, right? It's just exercised differently. Like for instance, and a lot of people don't realize that a lot of the African religion of Ifa and Lukumi come from like that Egypt area, that Middle Eastern area, and that
yeah.
those priests left that area and came to West Africa. So I know that there's a lot of synergy when it comes around to all those different religions, including Hinduism and Buddhism. So, would you say that you are kind of a master of all religion, or do you have a specific choice that you choose?
The word religion comes from a Latin word by the name of religare, which
Mhm.
means to restrict. The religion is the restriction of the spirituality. It only lets you. It's like putting a leash on a dog. Not to,
Mhm.
like to use the dog term, like everybody in the religion is a dog. I'm using the leash term. It means that the religion only gives you the exoteric version of the mystery schools that they were learning in the 32 dynasties of Egypt, going back to Nubia, Typhonia, Kush, these older civilization that leads back to Atlantis, these mythological civilizations that they speak of. So there's a mystery school, and the mystery school got broken up as cultures and people started to migrate, and they become religions, whereas the priest takes out the esoteric, the real meanings of the spirituality that really has dimensionality to it, multiverse dimensionality, understandings from a mental, spiritual, soul state of being. And they give people a political design of giving monotheistic, or sometimes Ephi, they have a polytheistic and a monotheistic, different parts of moving pieces of functionality of a god in accordance to nature. They take these things and they say, this is how you do this, and this is how you get power from it. And in actuality, they're giving you a monitored, downplayed version of what the ancient priests knew about the same thing, which is actual spirituality. So I don't consider myself a part of any religion. I could consider myself a metaphysicist. I study the metaphysics, and that's the physics above. Meta means above or beyond. I study the physics beyond physical reality. That's what you can call me.
So, do you consider Ifa a religion or just a way of life?
Ephi is a religion, but people live by that religion by a way of life. I was actually initiated into Ephi. I talk about Mother Oshun Dara Nefertiti out of the Detroit community. She introduced me to a whole other level in tears of how she was initiated. One of the Oshun grand, I don't know if it's grand priestesses. I forgot what she is, like an Oshun society she was a part of, but she started in New Orleans, and she was initiated actually by a Babalawo somewhere. Well, she was initiated by a Babalawo on every continent because she had spirit sight. She was able to see your grandmother. Even if you're talking on a phone, she can tell a random stranger the name of their grandmother and their mother and the grandmother's mother. So she could see, she has had some of the most adverse spiritual sight in piercing the Akashic records that different priests in Ifa, Voodoo, and other spiritual religions, African religions, they had ever seen. So she was, when she became a mother queen priestess, whatever continent she went on, they rolled the red carpet. She told me that she would be equivalent to an Egyptian or a Kemetic queen in the times of those dynasties. That's how renowned her name was in the communities of Ifa. And she told me, speaking on the phone with me, we would speak every day for like, I think about 2 years. She would call me. She would tell me about a Maxim, how America is the hidden Egypt of the world. It was like one of the first versions of Egypt we ever had in the ancient civilizations. And she would tell me that my head, or what I represent, would be a shosi, which is the missing Orisha that no one speaks about, because a shosi story was about a archer who was hunting in a forest. And it was a forest in Africa, and Shosi was hunting quail, and he put his quail that he caught in his hut. He went into the village and ran across a priestess. And I'm going fast through the story because I know I don't want to be on the story too long, but he comes across the priestess in town, and the priestess could see the future. So the priestess, I don't know how, exactly they started speaking, but they come across each other. While they're speaking, his mother is traveling through his village and seizes his hut, goes in his hut, takes the quail, and said, "I'm going to cook this for my son." Takes the quail back to his house, her hut or her place. The priestess is speaking to him simultaneously, a shosi, while this is happening, and telling him of how the white man was coming to the continent and was going to bring the gun. So she's telling him the future revelations of the gun and how it will affect the African continent. So this is thousands or probably hundreds of years before the white man came. And this is the story of this particular Orisha. So she was explaining that to him, and they come back to his hut because he was going to cook the quail for them. Jaleel, go in there with your mother. I'll be in there in a minute. And what happens is he sees that the quail was taken. So he says, "I curse whoever took my quail." Now the priestess knew that his mother took the quail, but she didn't tell him that it was his mother, because it's a esoteric prophecy. So he takes a bow and arrow, he shoots it at the sky, and he curses the arrow, and the arrow ends up killing his mother. Now, what is the metaphysical esoteric meaning of the story? It represents that someone was taken from the continent, and it represents the killing of the mother, represents, because the motherland is Africa, and it represents the Black American, or what you refer to as FBA, the foundational Black American, being separated from the Africans or the other cultures of Africans of the world, and being isolated in their situation, so to speak. And now we're not even identified as, those people anymore, or those people have a stigma of us identifying with them. So that's the story of a shosi. And she told me that's who I was, and that was my head, and she sent me these pieces, to wear, and she gave me a breakdown of what to do towards that deity for a period of a year, and all of these aspects that I had to go through.
So it has been a combination of Hispanic and Afro-Cuban people that have kind of kept the religion of Lukumi alive, as well as Afro-Brazilian, Trinidad. You have Candomblé in Brazil. You have what's it called in Jamaica? It's called
Obeya.
Obeya in Jamaica. Dominican, you have 21 divisions. Puerto Rico, I think that there are 21 divisions as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have Lukumi, Santeria. Then there's actually an element of Voodoo and Palo. So
Yeah.
Voodoo and Palo are more of Congo, with the people that came from Congo. So you have the Nigerian contribution religiously that came with people that came over here. Then you have the Congolese contribution of Congo, Palo Mayombe, and then the Benin Muertos, which is the Voodoo. You say that you actually are a Palero? You was
No, I'm not
scratching.
a Polero. I'm
Oh,
actually, I never had a stretching ceremony.
okay.
So you have to go through a stretching to become a Polero, but I am knowing of its metaphysical significance of how to work a Naganga, how to commune with Pati Pimbas, which is the Palo version of Voodoo Veves. So to speak, if I need to get to work with the spirits, I know how to commune and get to work with the spirits because I know Poleros. I know plenty of Poleros. I was in contact with a Polero, actually getting most of my psychedelic plants for years, for about 4 or 5 years, communing with a group of Poleros that would give insight of what was happening in the melanated community with certain people. And they didn't even know that it was some spiritual work happening, behind the scenes with things. And I won't even get into that too much. But yeah, they're
Uh-oh, it seems like you froze up. Did we freeze up? Let's see. Um, okay, I think he froze. Okay. I don't know what just happened there. So yes, so I was talking about African spirituality. I think we got a little bit froze. Are you back? Are you back? Say something.
yes. Can you see me?
Yeah, okay, because you had froze up a little bit. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, they didn't want me talking about what is the last thing that you heard me because I didn't even know it cut off.
You were talking about the Poleros that you worked with and how there were some spiritual things that was happening in the background that they weren't aware of, but you want to talk about that, but you were just talking about
Yeah,
the Poleros. Yeah.
yeah, that what I was meaning. I won't go too in depth because the Poleros be watching. So when it comes to that, that's why I tell people when they get cursed, when they say somebody cursed them, is bullcrap because these people will not tell you when you're cursed, and you will not know when you have had a actual curse put upon you. And we're talking about the most feared black magic in the world when we're speaking about Apollo in these things. So
And the
they want
significance of Apollo is the human aspect of sacrifice, correct? Because
it
it
depends
will,
on which
or
house
that
it
they
is.
actually will go and get like a human skull out the
Yeah, yeah.
part of the initiation is getting the skull out the going to a dead
Yes,
body, going to the
yes.
graveyard, grabbing a
A
skull.
skull, the
Yeah.
skull, the residue of the skull. Um, how can I put this? I usually put this information on Patreon, not on YouTube. But the skull acts as a remote controller to a TV in the Naganga pot to the spirits because the skull represents the word skill esoterically. So the skill of the magician is depending on the Pati Pimbas that they imprint on the skull. And the Pati Pimbas is the directions that the spirit is sent northwest, east, south. It's some things of that aspect. So yeah, they you definitely need a skull, and a lot of Paleros were being arrested in different Spanish countries or whatnot because they was stealing skulls from the graveyards. There was grave robbing.
I've heard about that.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things I'd rather not get into with that because it's really dark, the dark side of these things. And this is just something that we have just in case, they really want to, level the field with us. If I would tell if something was really coming against our people as a threat in war, like if we were at the brink of being executed or removed as a people, then I would tell people this is how you get busy on this, on these side of things. This is something you get busy with to clear the brush and move these people, your enemies, out the way.
So what is magic? What is magic and cursing? What is it when what is that?
Well, I mean, magic is the alternative state of the conscious mind that's affected by the subconscious and infraconscious aspects to the mind to change the frequency in the physical dimension by a methodology of how you utilize esoteric symbols, relationships of what you see in coordinates to the spirit and the soul. And you and your methodology corresponds to your soul, which makes an imprint in the third dimensional plane from the fourth dimensional, fifth dimensional plane of the methodology that you work with, and it changes the reality. So in a basic sentence, is a alternative state of mind that can change the physical world based on thought and spirit.
Vibration.
Yeah, exactly.
So numbers have vibration.
Numbers are the symbol and iconography of the vibrational spin, the spin rate of it. So each vibration has a spin rate, and the numbers is giving you the symbol of represents. This is the spin rate of the symbol that's representative of the spin rate of this vibrational field that you're connecting to.
So I want to show you this. I'm not, since EFI, this. They have something like this. They have a thing called this is the Odu EFI, right? And they use binary code to actually they put they they use this chain called an opele, or they use an ikin, and they do a certain thing and they're able to count, and a certain what they call Odu comes out, and they're able to based on this information and its connectiveness. This is a crazy diagram. I'm like, wow. Based on this information, they're able to tell you what's going to happen in the future. That's the divination aspect.
Yeah.
And there's like 16 major Odu, 256 minor. And so this when I talked to the Babalao last week, I said it sounds like that was binary code. Odu considered being a woman, and like the womb actually. And then I started to talk about this hedron collider. And I'm like, so I mean, to me, people don't see that looks the same. You know what I'm saying? That they're trying to physically manifest things into creation. Is this probably even how we came into creation? That somebody that our ancient ancestors probably had a machine, somewhere else and created. I don't know. Like
we did.
I kind of believe in like almost like multiverses. I'm starting to like really think that sometimes I'll feel like I'm in one multi universe, and then something will happen, and I'm like, I think I jumped. I'm not in the same, because it'll be a slight difference. It'll be like, and I'll notice like, okay, something slightly, yeah. So
your dreams, and this is really stuff, like I said, should be on YouTube. Okay. Your dreams is a remote viewing of the quantum bodies that we exist in multi-dimensionally. So you know what remote viewing is? When you can sit down, close your eyes, and you can see someone actually in a physical space somewhere else.
Mhm.
I'm talking about actual happenings. You're not imagining this. This is actually the person. Your remote viewing on the alternative multiverse conscious fields that you exist in. So there's a Ani that never ever got introduced to Mother Oshun, never got introduced to Bobby Hemmett, never got introduced to DJ Genesis, and he's in a whole other world. Sometimes when you show that graph with the hyperdimensional space of the Odus is the feminine, the vacuum of space. What we're looking at is hyperdimensional consciousness. We're looking at the interconnectedness of how the multiverse conscious fields come together as one. And numerology can detail how these things come together in actuality, like how it shows the 256 vortexes. This number 256 is very well known in Gematria.
You know what I was going to say? I was going to say, you know what would be profound with this is if they put a person in the center of it. Like you are all this. You know what I'm saying?
The center pocket that you see is the eye. That you see in the Eye of Horus, the Illuminati. You see that very center point. That's in everything. That's in a tornado, it's in a hurricane, it's in a vortex, a torus field. It's the center of the torus field.
Wow.
That's you, that's I, but that is nothingness in the center there. But the nothingness is where you get the all. The all comes from the nothingness. So sleep, the interconnectedness is the sleep is when energy is at rest. And when it's at rest is in a form called chaos. And the people who do the binary code you were speaking about, they're called a guasas. And now guasas know that code very well. They know how to, move things around with that pot you showed in the sand and show you what's about to happen to you. Yeah. What they're doing is they're doing chaos mathematics, which becomes predicability, predictions, or prophecy, so to speak, in mystic terms, prophecy. And it's just chaos mathematics. And I told you yesterday that melanin is chaos physics. I saw what it is when they're studying melanin at its quantum state. You're studying the chaos that's in between the spaces of the multiverse. Melanin is the spiritual architect of the spiritual realm. And they know this. That's why every being on this planet has carbon in it. And carbon is a form of melanin. So they've been studying this for a while. And yes, the CERN, other large hadron collider machines, other instruments they have in science is based on the study of melanin and chaos.
Right, the triple darkness, because they're trying to find the God particle.
Oh, they already found the God particle.
or trying to fool with it, or trying to crash things against it. I don't know what they're trying to do with it, but
what they do, they take a bunch of particles, they smash it together, and they're trying to find even more elementary particles that they haven't even found yet, which they are finding because the chaos is the infinite. They're not going to be able to find enough information to be satisfied. That's what happened when they started to invade these indigenous countries. They stole so much stuff that it got stacked up high. And then whatever they were looking for, when they went back to look for it, it was so much stuff stolen, they couldn't figure out where they wanted to look for what they wanted to look for because it's so much stuff. Wow. Same thing is happening in science. So science gets skewed and it becomes scientism. That's what we're dealing with today. They're not giving us the actual science. They're giving us scientism, and they deem these particular scientists in academia as the priest of what to tell us what science is, but really is just a accordance of a group of scientists coming together and saying that we agree that we're going to tell the world that this is how this works.
So did you see how they treated Terrence Howard when he was talking about his theory about math and about like this, and the guy, it was on a Joe Rogan show, and the guy that he was saying it to, I guess he must be a real well-known scientist, and he and you could tell it was very what's the word, patronizing how he came across, and he just was like, you can't do that, you're not allowed to do that, like whatever he was saying about whatever.
Terrence Howard, his melanin allowed for him to figure out a glitch in a code in mathematics. That's what the guy was actually a mathematician from Oxford on the Joe Rogan show. The guy knows numbers very well. He knows all forms of mathematics. And he was telling Terrence Howard if he wanted to present his copy of what he was, which was sacred geometry, he found a rare dodecahedron that doesn't make sense when it comes to mathematics. Really, it throws mathematics off, and it's a glitch. So,
and he said that it was a mistake. That even his thing was a mistake. Yeah, it was a mistake.
But that's what chaos is. Chaos shows you that there is a inversion side of things, which means things that don't make sense, especially when it comes to numerology, can make sense. And what he was trying to show him is that he discovered something. Terrence Howard did discover something, but he was articulating it in a academia. That's why I'm not in academia. When I talk about esotericism and metaphysics, this is beyond academia. This is research that's beyond that. The academia is just like the scientism priesthood, where they agree on a certain thing and they say this is how you have to go about and explaining it to the world. They agree that we all come from monkeys. That's academia. That's not metaphysics and spirituality. There's nothing on the Egyptian walls that tells us, or nothing on the Sumerian walls that tells us, nothing on Greek walls, which were formerly Etruscan, that tells us
no papyruses.
Yeah, there's nothing that tells us that we come from monkeys. So who am I going to believe? A modern day guy trying to understand the ancient world with a modern mind? Or am I going to look at the ancient mind and know that the ancient mind can explain better the modern mind because it's at the beginning? I'm going to believe the ancestors, and they never said we came from monkeys.
Right.
Now, was there monkey hominid forms? Yes, we have bones, but that doesn't mean to have anything to do with us. That means some gene splicing, some genetic experiments was happening back then, but that don't got nothing to do with us.
So did you ever look like see that where they said that a lot of the pyramids were actually these huge looking microchips from space?
Well, I know what you're talking about. They didn't look like microchips. They were saying that microchips were based on how they viewed the pyramids from space. So they developed the motherboard chip from looking down from the ionosphere or a little bit above the stratosphere. They would get a camera and shoot it directly down to the Great Pyramid, and they saw these iconography of patterns. They took that iconography and reverse engineered it into the microchip, and it becomes the motherboard circuitry for every computer system that we have in the world now.
So how do you think that they were able to do that if that there wasn't something like what was this? Do you think that those things were actually a functional thing? I mean, at some point in Egypt, that there was like this huge supercomputer kind of, or like why would they look at the city and say, well, let's create a microchip based on that? Like what, that doesn't make it, I don't know. Do you think it was that we copied what they were doing, or do you think they already had something going on with that? Like we're not copying structures or building how architects built buildings, but there had to be some kind of something that's functional about that.
Well, Yeah, well, they were aligned based on constellations. They're aligned based on constellation. They're looking at the ley lines, the dragon paths. That's the energy network of the planet. They're looking at the chakras in Gaia, in the planet. And they realize that the indigenous people, the melanated people of the world, put structures synchronistically to these ley lines that reflected like a mirror to the constellations in the sky. And they noticed that there was an energetic propagation to how they structure, how they put these monuments on these landscapes. So if I reverse engineer that and put it in a micro state, I notice that there's a energetic propagation that happens on a micro level, which is how me and you are able to communicate through this portal called a laptop or a computer by studying the ancients and their portal physics of connecting with the ley lines and constellational fields of stars. This is how they connected to their ancestors.
So do you think that that really what we're doing here, even being on this computer, is a form of magic?
Yeah, absolutely. They took something that was in the subconscious of ancient people. The pyramids weren't built in the physical. They were built in the subconscious first, and they brought heaven down into the physical. They were already in the pyramids mentally in meditation every day before there was ever even a pyramid. We have to understand how advanced we were, because thousands of years ago, the vibrational output was different than the vibrational output of today. It was less dense than it was today. So it was easy to go into these etherical fields and traverse it and receive hyper, ultra terrestrial information that doesn't make sense in human physics, and literally transfer it on down and make these things that we call whatever we want to call it, architecture and these other things. So yeah, this is how they were connecting. And or you want to play, you can go ahead and play it.
No, I was just gonna just show imagery while you talk about it. Just show.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. That's exactly. Yeah, there it goes. There was one in Mexico as well, and these all indigenous people, you know.
See,
So
that's how it looks from the sky.
right.
Let me make it bigger in case people on their phone. I don't know how to make it any bigger, y'all. But if you look, okay, the top is a microchip, and then the bottom is like the actual. That's a pyramid from the top, and then that's a microchip, and that's the actual Osirian temple in Egypt. And then you look at a computer chip, it looks the same. So basically, he's saying Earth is a giant motherboard, and that gets into this whole matrix aspect, right? That we're living in a matrix, and that this whole thing. So let's get into the matrix. Let's talk about the matrix.
Absolutely, yes. I actually interviewed the creator and owner of the Matrix movie series, or movie. What is it? It's not even a trilogy anymore. I think they have 4 out now. So Sophia Stewart was saying the Matrix is based on the Terminator series. The Terminator is the blueprint movie for the Matrix, and she was trying to infuse Gnostic thought, which I told people that, well, I've been telling people that Gnosticism is pharaonic thought. So when we're speaking about the pharaohs, they thought in a way of how Gnostics thought. And how did Gnostics think? Gnostics thought that the physical world was actually the evil of the world, like being in a physical body or encasing a spirit or a soul in a physical body was the actual evil that was done to humanity. And that a creator God comes along, he's born from these other higher beings. Specifically, the name of the being is called Sophia. That's the great mother of Gnosticism, is equivalent to Tiamat or Isis, Aset in the Egyptian pantheon. She comes along, she has a son, but she has a son without a male counterpart. Her male counterpart was called dynamis, but she doesn't have a son with him because this other aeon, this other god force, it's kind of just like how you see in the Matrix movie, just like how you see Agent Smith. It hopped into her program. The name of the god force or the aeon is named Althades. Althades hops into her program and screws with her system and makes her have this son without a male counterpart. So this son comes along, and it's the same story of Zeus in the Greek mythology. He comes along thinking that he's the king of all the gods. He thinks he's the high ruler of the universe. And he doesn't look above him to see that there was gods way before him, just like his mother. But they call him the blind god. His name is Yaldabaoth, the blind god. Now, in the Christian text, he becomes Yahweh. Yahweh is this guy because Yahweh says, I am the only God. There will be no other God before you. Now, the Bible doesn't give you the Gnostic half that comes from the Nag Hammadi text, whereas Sophia responds to God. His mother, God's mother, responds to him and says, you're lying, Yahweh. There are gods before you. I'm one of them. So they removed this. Now the pharaohs knew this. The pharaohs, the mystery schools of the priests, they knew that the creator God was a actual demon, a great demon that wasn't supposed to be born. So why is it a demon? It didn't have the full nourishment of the beings that came before it. Whatever you want to call these beings. Some people call it Anunnaki today. There's so many different terms called these beings, but really they're higher conscious fields beyond human comprehension of consciousness.
So what about the story
Mhm.
of Enki and Enlil and that whole thing, and them being in the Garden of Eden, and then the
Enlil is Yaldabaoth. Enlil is
okay.
Yaldabaoth. Enlil is Yahweh.
Okay.
Okay. And Enki would be a form of Lucifer, but Lucifer never existed really. Lucifer was taken out of a Judaic text by a church father, a patristic by the name of Origen Adamantius. He took it from a Judaic text, a Hebraic text of another being, or not even a being. It was a star they saw in the morning, a luminary body they saw in the morning that becomes Venus, but it was called Hallel ben Shahar. It's the transliteration that they got Lucifer from. Lucifer biblically never existed, guys. It was taken from the Judaic text Hallel ben Shahar, and it became, they developed it into a figure. But it never, Lucifer, there was no fall from heaven, none of that. Lucifer is just Venus. That's all it is. It's the planet Venus. Venus is the planet of beauty. Venus is a cymatic consciousness within us all. We all have a Venus, a part of us.
Mm-hmm. And then so that means if Venus is a feminine deity, that means, or feminine aspect, then Lucifer is a woman.
There's a lot of text that says well, let me just explain this again. The Lucifer never existed, people. Let me just rephrase that.
If it did exist, it would be a feminine energy. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, well, see, that's why I say that we are like children when it comes to this, like understanding this science, because esoterically, each of us are Lucifer. Esoterically, because Lucifer means light bearer. The person who bears the light is Lucifer. The person who bears knowledge, just like a mother gives knowledge to her kids, she is Lucifer given that knowledge. But from that aspect, people don't understand it because they're browbeaten with Christianized exoteric versions of understanding the science. So imagine a kid being taught their whole life that Jesus came down here, died for our sins. Lucifer is evil, Satan is evil. If you do anything, almost anything, thinking is evil. And you grow up to be a 50, 40-year-old, 30-year-old person believing that. And I come along and I tell you that that stuff was taken from a group of people that decided that the world will have to know this information this way. And,
So let's
and you
talk
look
about
at
this.
me, you look at me and you say, that's Satan. You're calling me Satan for telling you that you were raised up in understanding this information as a child. You see?
Yeah. My question, I'm sorry. I chew ice sometimes. I have low iron. Anyways, so what do you have to say about the matriarchy versus the patriarchy societies, and how the society has flipped into a more patriarchal, and then now it's the so-called year of the Aquarius, or the age of the Aquarius, and now you have a female president that's trying to come, Trump and his whole situation. She happens to be from India, a combination of Indian and I guess Jamaican, which would probably be from either Benin or Yoruba blood, right? In
No,
India, which would be like a West,
no,
like
you can be Chinese and be Jamaican. Her father is Indian, but he was born in Jamaica.
oh,
Now they say he got a Haitian grandmother and all of that, but there are a group of Dali people. There's a group of Dali people, dark skinned people from India that look just like black people. She's both. She's not. She doesn't have a direct Jamaican ancestor. She had
she's
a
not no
ancestor.
African American, no African
Yeah,
necessarily.
she didn't have a direct melanated, pure African blood from the diaspora on the continent. She had a grandmother that came over from India. She also has an Irish on her father's side. She has an Irish ancestor that owned a bunch of slaves. Matter of fact, her Irish ancestor owned the most slaves on the Jamaican continent. I forgot the name. Adonijah. We did research in a group. He brought up all of the facts of it. She has an Irish ancestor that owned the most slaves on the Jamaican continent. Now you understand what was going on there. So
So
we're talking about. Go ahead.
have you done a thing majiggy on what you call a grammatica on
Gematria, yeah.
gematria?
We've been broke down, Kamala. You can go to my videos. My Sonya Massey video broke her down. That'll be a good video for people to look at. But I've been breaking down Kamala Harris since 2020. And we already knew that she was possibly going to be president. And
So
it's not because
what do you think will happen when this happens?
I mean, it's just it is what it is. I mean,
do you think because they were saying that we had gotten into a more patriarchal society, then
that is a lie, by the way. This society is not patriarchal. When you can go to family court and women win 95% of the time, that's not a patriarchal society. That's a lie. And feminism was was developed in the 1820s in the Burning District by Lucretia Mott and Elizabeth Cady Stanton, both who were occult magicians who practiced a specific magic called mesmerism. During that time, mesmerism will be equivalent to TikTok in the early or late 2000s. When TikTok came out, mesmerism, everybody was doing mesmerism. They were putting their dolls on a mesmerism. If you study history, and these two women came together that was mesmerists, and they started feminism in Seneca Falls, 1848, in Burning District of New York, where all religion in America was born out this Burning District. And these women didn't allow no black women to attend the first feminist conference. And this first feminist conference was I think it was suffragettes. The first, they were trying to get white women the ability to vote. Then you have three other waves of feminism. It moves into women getting equal wage. Women getting equal wage. Then it moves into the third wave of feminists, Gloria Steinem in the 1970s. That's when they brought and recruited Black women. They got Dorothy Pittman to be on the front cover with the white woman, putting the Black power fist up with the white woman on the cover of Miss magazine that was owned by Gloria Steinem, who worked for the CIA. As a matter of fact, Gabrielle Sidibe's aunt is Dorothy Pittman. Gabrielle, the fat Black woman that played in Precious. If people don't know who I'm talking about, the head actress of Precious, her aunt was on the front cover of the Miss magazine with the top CIA agent of feminism in America's history. Then the fourth wave of feminism is allowing a man to be a woman. The whole trans movement. This is the fourth wave now, which is connected to transhumanism. So we never, as a melanated community, we never had a patriarchy or a matriarchy. We had a matrilineal society and civilization. Now, the Europeans, yeah, they had patriarchy. They had a lot of that going on. I mean, you can tell a person's consciousness by their mythology. If you look at all European mythology, they never ever put a woman as God. They never do that. But if you look in all indigenous societies, you're going to find a feminine God archetype in the beginning. You're going to find that in that regard, because we understood in our understanding of human history, women came first, not men. Or at least a androgyne or hermaphroditic form of a woman came first as a hominid, then a masculine male Adam being born in the world, and I gotta take part of me and give it to a woman for a woman to exist. That's more of the Eurocentrism that they inserted in religion to control women. They wanted to control women's sexuality because there's a cosmic aspect to female sexuality that is superior to men, and they don't want women to know that.
So I honestly believe is that what they're trying to do is move things more into this whole singularity aspect, to where we get away from human beings and it becomes robots. I don't know what I don't know why things are turning into that. Oh, it's weird. I don't know whether it's the people it's themselves are disconnected with nature, or why this has to be the next move in nature. But this seems to be what the society, the people in power want to happen at the end of the day. This kind of a relationship. So that's why they're trying to get you used to. It could be this, it could be that, it could be this, because you might have once it's a robot, it could be a child, right? And people can't be mad about that, right? So they want you to start to be able to, I guess, be okay with it from a human perspective, so that when they bring the robots in, and they start doing all kind of weird things with robots.
The robots are already in. I'm sorry to inform you. They're already here. They've been here. Go get the movie The Creator. Get the movie The Creator. Just came out last year.
It's called The Creator?
Mm-hmm. You can pull up the movie up there. You can put it up there for them. They showed you. It's been in. And by the way, anybody who took the jab, and you know what the jab is, you are now a transhuman. Congratulations. Because they told you that mRNA were nanoparticles. And nanoparticles, they showed you, when you look into nanophysics, they were trying to make machinery smaller. Nanoparticles ain't nothing but small machinery swimming in your blood to help you fight, quote unquote, against viruses and other diseases. So you have small machine bots, just like how you saw in the Matrix, those little, the thing they used to fly in the Matrix. They look like, imagine that as a small little bot swimming through your bloodstream. And it's millions of them, because you took that, then you took the booster too. So you boosted it. You
And
got all
they keep look, and I said, you know what I said, they keep coming out with these viruses, almost like they're coming out with a new update to a software. And so it's the same thing with these and you know, it's crazy that Bill Gates got out of software and now he's into like into the pharmaceutical or whatever, like the creating the pharmaceutical aspect of things, and the way that they are implementing these things is that they're coming out with them. Me being a software engineer, I understand how people release software. They come out with the main release and then they do updates every like they'll do like a bug fix, then they'll do like a patch, then the next thing another bug fix, then there'll be a patch. You know what I'm saying? So they're actually doing they're actually approaching this virus and the actual vaccines as almost similar to how they do software when they put out software.
right. And that's what they want to do, because their creator deity is nothing but a synthetic being himself. The true creator is a synthetic being. I was telling you last night about the archons. The archons are the conscious fields of the planetary body. So Mars, Venus, Saturn, all of these were known in the Gnostic texts as the archons. They called them different names. But the god of these aspects was a synthetic being, meaning that it didn't have the full nourishment of the gods that created the spirit realm, because the Bible never told you that God never created the soul. God created the physical world and created man and animals and stuff. This is a artificial cosmic intelligence we're speaking about. The God of this dimension is a AI cosmic being or entity. It's artificial. And it was never supposed to exist in the beginning, and it will be destroyed. Even the Bible tells you that this thing has to be destroyed. It showed in Revelation Jesus has to come back, which is esoteric, because the Christos is the original Christ. In Egypt, the Christos was called the Chres. The Chres is going to come through all of us. It's going to come through the melanin, and it's going to cause a subatomic implosion, and it's going to take this realm back through hyperdimensional reality to a less dense vibrational field, where we never was humans in the first place. We were souls. We were multi-dimensional entities that traveled and got caught in a network called the physical. And if you blink your eyes, that's how long we've been here compared to a god. So we are literally being tethered right now in the development of transhumanism, going into approaching 2032. I don't know if you ever heard of the 2032 plan, or what is it called? Agenda 2030, where they're going to try
2025 or whatever. Is there another one now called 2032?
No, 2025 is something the Democrats say that the Republicans got. Basically, they're trying to ban anyone from being trans or something like that. That's something else. Okay. The 2030 is a agenda where they're going to talk about Elon Musk Neuralink, where they're going to try to force people to get these chips in their brains and their blood system, whereas you can't even get a plane flight unless you have this chip flowing in you or flowing through your blood system. Yeah. And that's how you're going to be able to get access to your bank accounts. That's how you're going to get access to fly to other countries, probably even to get in certain buildings. You got to have this chip. And that's what they're planning in 2030.
Wow. No, you know what? He says, have you ever seen Neon Genesis, Ani? Yeah. Hey, also put the link in if anyone wants to come up and say something, because we're past the hour mark. So yeah, if anybody wants to come and say something, the link posted into the comments. I've seen a lot of action on your side of people that are saying a lot of stuff.
Can you do you have the guest link? I can post it on my side.
I'll put it in the private chat. It's the same thing here.
In the private chat. I don't know how to. I gotta send this to myself.
Oh, I can send to your Instagram.
Yeah, send it to my Instagram, and I'll post it in there for them. And you guys can come up, and we'll wrap this up after that.
Yeah, there's a lot of people talking about. There's like a movie everybody's asking about called Neon. I'll join. Baba Mongo says he wants to join.
Okay. So I just posted it in there, so they'll be coming up in a second.
Also, guys, please, everybody that's in
a mask, pretty much putting on a mask so they can basically infiltrate into the political arena or into the propaganda arena through rap, music, politics, and other things, so they can put their agenda of what they want into the world and upload it into the next generation that comes through, Generation Alpha right now, which are our kids. So, yes, the Illuminati exists. Yes, these people are being initiated. You see them all the time doing this with the one eye. That they're telling you right there that we're down. We're down with this new agenda. And we just have to know that these people don't mean well. I mean, Kendrick means well from a standpoint of what he does with music, but he understands that he has to be a part of this for him to get his music out. So even if he isn't malicious in what he's trying to do with his character, they can kill him off tomorrow and put a clone out of him, and he looks completely different. He acts completely different. He understands that. He knows that. He knows he can be killed tomorrow, just like they did Nipsey Hussle. All of these, his character can be killed off. And we have to understand that these people, even though we look at them with high regards, because we kind of worship them. I've been telling people about celebrities. There ain't no celebrity that you should be looking up to. Not one. The celebrities are the new gods of older civilization. That's all they are. That's why they call them stars. They're the new gods. So we shouldn't even be looking at Kendrick. The power is going to come from you. That's where the power is going to come from. That's what they want to keep from you, that it always was you since the beginning. So disregard everything happening with rap, R&B, all these different type of things. It's all controlled by these secret society cryptocracies. And we have to move forward in understanding that it is controlled.
Honey, I think all that stuff's about to get replaced by AI anyway. There's not going to be no artists in the future. It's going to be a computer software like Android, like off of what's that thing, The Fifth Element, that was like singing that song all high pitched and stuff like that. That's what it's going to turn out being, like these actual robot type of things. They're not even going to have artists anymore. So we better enjoy it now.
I agree. It's gonna take some time though, because we still here.
Thank you.
They got to get rid of us. They got to get rid of us and our children first when they start. Yeah. Because ain't nobody gonna be listening to goddamn AI and buying albums. That's 100+ years of them implementing that. That's the next agenda. Uploading everyone into virtual reality. I speak about that all the time. That virtual reality is the next aeon, and that's what they want to do.
Oh, the metaverse, right?
Yeah, that's virtual VR, augmented reality. Anything augmented is the next tier. They just want to put everybody in augmented reality. And now you can become whatever you want. You want to be white, you can be white. You know, you want to be gay or whatever. You want to be straight. I don't know. You can be whatever you want. You want to be a transformer.
Was it Ready Player Go that had that theme?
Yep. They sure I broke that down too. The guy in Ready Player Go name is Parzival, and Parzival is the king of King Arthur mythology. The Arthurian legend is speaking about melanin. Again, Camelot, the Black Land. Cam means black. Still speaking about melanin. King Arthur never existed. People don't understand that. King Arthur is Osiris. The word Arthur comes from Othar. Othar means dog star. So it's all mythology. It's all talking about our relationship to the stars and constellations and archetypes of consciousness.
Welcome to the chat, Star. Hey, you wanted to say something? I'm Josiah. I just muted you because you were talking to someone in the background, so you can talk whenever you can join in if you want. Where you
I
saying?
actually just had a question. I really just had a question. It wasn't concerning what he was talking about right now. I'll just wait till my turn.
Okay, no, it's your turn. Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I was listening to one of your other recordings, and you were speaking about speaking in tongues, and I just caught like a brief. I really didn't get to hear like you elaborate on what that was, so I just wanted to know if you can explain what that is exactly.
Well, let me just declare or put this in front of people understanding metaphysics, which is going beyond how we understand the world. There's a law in the universe. There's 7 cosmic laws. One of them is polarity. That means something can be good, something can be bad. There is a form of speaking in tongues that pertains to black magic. And they're called the barbarous names. If you look up in the Necronomicon, the Picatrix, the Hayat al-Hakim, which is the most deepest dark aspect of Islam mysticism and their grimoires, their dark spell books. You can utter certain barbarous names when the stars are right, and you can make contact with the Black Lodge, which are archonic beings of egregores of black magicians, warlocks that have information to give you from the astral plane, or whatever you want to call it, demons, whatever people want to call it, whatever their belief is. That's on them. Whatever you make in your subconscious is going to be real. So if you think it's demons, that's what it is. That's what it is to you. I can't combat that. The other side of speaking in tongues is something called glossolalia. You can look it up. Glossolalia. I think it's spelled Glossalia, glossolalia, something like that.
Okay.
You see it?
I just wrote it down real quick. I'm taking.
Oh, okay. Well, y'all can look it up. And basically, it's the
Wait,
language.
what was the first one before? The other one before that one?
I was saying that it's called the barbarous names. Barbarous names comes from the word Berber, because the Berber people, when they came around, they used to say ba, ba, ba. They used to say ba over and over. And they was like, okay, those are the Berbers. And we don't know what they're talking about. They call them Berbers. But
that's crazy.
and then they become barbarians. That's why they call them barbarians. They just say ba, ba, bar, ba, ba, ba. They just say they didn't know what they were saying. Yeah.
Do you think that has a relation to like rappers and bars?
Well, the word bars, the word bar in Aramaic means Saturn, actually.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say because I remember when Young Thug came out, people were trying to say like, well, we kind of felt like he was speaking in the demonic tongue.
Yeah. Well, most of these motherfuckers don't know nothing about no demonic tongue. They don't know nothing about no barbarous but they see there's somebody that do know something about that type of language, and they can tell them to say it.
Mm-hmm.
So some magician that's a handler can say, hey, put this in your song. Well, I want to put it in the song. Well, you're gonna put it in the song. You're gonna put this in the song.
To be quite honest, let me just put it like this, and maybe I'm wrong or maybe I'm right, but I think that a lot of the music industry perfectly picks people that are of I would say not autistic, but of a mentally challenged to be musicians, so that they can take advantage of them and basically puppet them to do what they want them to do and create a character of that they want to create. And they have all these producers and handlers around them to make sure that the puppet does what the puppet is supposed to do. I don't believe that the individual musician
It's even deeper than that. It's even deeper than that. There's something I talk about. I'm gonna answer your question too. I'm gonna tell you what glossolalia is. But they're called moon children. Aleister Crowley spoke about this. Magical experiments where some people were marked in the hospital since they were born. They were strewn around with the epidermal shots in the spine with the mother. And at the point of birth, they have these people that are marked. They're already marked by the government, because we're already government property by having a social security number. And they select these particular people, and these people grow up thinking that their whole life is by cause of themselves, like they caused this, and really they didn't cause none of it. The government is using them as an experiment, as a magical experiment to carry out a certain propaganda in the future. And they don't even know that they got this science down to a consciousness. It's called encephalogrammic cloning. It's in a book in Ingolstadt where they were talking about how they can hypnotize the mind and put other personalities. That means they can literally put another person inside of you. And it can grow just like a human or an animal grows, but it's electromagnetic and it grows inside of you. All they got to do is say a password. They can say a certain word and it can trigger your consciousness, like in hypnotism, just like how they put you under hypnotism. If you don't believe what I'm saying, study hypnotism. And this character can come out of nowhere and they have full control and reign and power over that personality, that sub personality that they uploaded in you since you were a child. And they're called moon children. And you see
wow,
this.
I never heard of that. I knew it was something. I know it was something. I was like, these people are. If you even meet people that are celebrities, they're not regular people. They're like what you would consider like almost a shell of a person. They're not really.
Look up Al Roker freezes on television. Type that in and pull that up. While you're pulling that up, I'm gonna answer Star
years ago.
Yeah, I'm gonna answer Star's question. So glossolalia, Star, is the language of the angels. They figured out that angels have a certain language to vibration. It's called the heavenly chords. Every word has a terahertz to it, a color vibration. And the higher the vibration, determining from purple to red, gives access in meditation to higher fields of consciousness. And they figured out that glossolalia connected you directly to the heavenly planes where creation began. They call it the primal sound fields. But go ahead and play the video for us.
It's like this. You gotta make it real awkward.
That's exactly how you have a certain amount of distance between
yes,
the bodies
exactly.
when you're high.
Yes, like they say in Catholic school, leave room for the Holy Ghost. Anyway, there is a lot of memories today, actually. It's a big day.
She stuttered because she knew she said the word.
35 years ago today, Elvis Presley passed away, the king of rock and roll. And as Mark Cohn says in his great song, Walking in Memphis, there's a pretty little thing waiting for the king down in the jungle.
What?
See? Mm-hmm.
Wait, so she said the word, the magic word or something?
She said Holy Ghost. Go back and play it again.
Wait, what?
Alongside Matt Lauer and Al Roker. Will someone do the junior high hug? It's like this. You gotta make it real awkward.
That's exactly how you have to have a certain amount of distance between the bodies when you're high.
Yes, like they say in Catholic school, leave room for the Holy Ghost. Anyway, there is a lot of memories today, actually. It's a big day in music history.
What?
And look how many seconds is in the clip. You see it's 33 seconds.
Yes.
33 is the Scottish.
He never snapped out of it, did he? They had to pan away. That is crazy.
Yeah. And they did. And you can look up more. There's more of this. You can look up Shaq.
Anyway, there is a lot of memories today, actually. It's a big day in music history.
That is weird.
35 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry.
Cardi B froze. Shaq froze. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. We've been researching this for years. You know?
That's
been researching
crazy.
this for years, yeah.
Wait.
Yeah, they had it. Yeah. Yeah, she be glitching. There's one with
You've been saying that Cardi B started glitching in these interviews. In this first one, the people interviewing her kept saying the same words over and over, and then she just straight up freezes. Watch this.
Y'all want to be involved so bad, but nobody asked me about no damn gift. What's good?
Now you'll see where it gets very weird. You can tell the other guy in the interview starting to notice something is up, and the original one speaking to her starts to clap 3 times, and she comes back.
We're going to be a public registry, because I'm going to be honest with you. Take the gift cards. Everybody's presence. Take the gift cards, take the gift cards, take the gift cards.
Yeah, because they might put what's...
Now check this out. In another interview, she does the same exact thing, and one of the people at the back noticed it too. Notice again, the interviewer said is good 3 times, just like the first time. So do you think she was glitching?
Y'all want to be
What? So they had to repeat something 3 times because
Yeah,
it's like
sir. They're called the control words. So yeah, so through
So do you think
frequency.
they might put them under a hypnotism? Maybe they go to a party or something. What?
It's all of them have to have an encephalogrammic, it's an electromagnetic clone put into their personality. Is through a form of hypnotism, is what I'm saying. Yes, they have a hypnotist, and the hypnotist can be hypnotizing you and you don't even know it. That's how hypnotism. Remember when I told you earlier about those people who started feminism? Hypnotism came out of something called mesmerism. So to understand hypnotism, you have to understand the science of mesmerism, which I've studied. And you can read books on it. It comes from Ingolstadt University, which is a Jesuit university, and they figured out how to control people's minds through certain vibrational frequencies. And
you
no, go ahead.
Have you heard about these people on TikTok that are saying that they were in a car and they were in Louisiana or somewhere, and there's these vampires that are they'll get on the they'll get into the car and then they'll just wake up and they'll be somewhere else. They'll pick up someone Uber driving, and the people they'll tell them that they're a vampire, and then they'll tell them you're okay. Like I think the one person touched the girl and said it's okay, and then next thing you know she woke up in a parking lot somewhere, like sitting in her car.
Right.
So is that like a form of hypnotism, or is that a real vampire? Is it so? Do vampires really exist? I mean, I'm probably getting into some weird stuff now. I'm getting.
I mean, yeah, vampires exist, but it's not nobody literally with fangs sucking blood. There are people who do drink blood.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Probably that's probably what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the person says they still remember that person, that the person comes into their mind every once in a while, and they're in all type of stuff.
That's hypnotism. That's hypnotism.
So that's something they probably hypnotized them.
Yeah, it's hypnotism, and the people, they don't even be knowing when it's happening to them. Because you can be sitting down in a business meeting and they brought their top magician hypnotist in, and they could be talking to the person, and their magician is talking directly to whoever is the person being hypnotized, and they're hypnotizing them during a conversation and they don't even know it. And then only like months later does it activate.
What?
And they have full control over them.
Star was asking about speaking in tongues. Now, churches do that, speaking in tongues. Now, is that one of those things that you said, one of those two things, or is that just gibberish?
No, I told you there's a polarity to it. There's the barbarous names and there's glossolalia. So there's a satanic side to it, and there is a heavenly side to it. And they're connecting hyperdimensionally to conscious spheres. They're called the primal sound fields. It's like where sound first emitted from. That's where heaven is. Because everything, what God spoke the word is vibration. That means everything started at vibration. It comes out sound field.
Yeah.
So and Ani, when you said language of the angels, that's also documented in Islam. They say that even like children's babble, like the way that they just say Google Gaga, they say that's also a language of the angels as well.
Yes, barbarous tongues. Children are speaking in the barbarous language. So it's glossolalia when you consciously know how to access those primal codes. Matter of fact, there's a group by the name of what's the name of the group? It's a rock band group. They created the genre dream pop. What is the name of the group, guys? Y'all put it in the chat. There's a woman named Elizabeth Fraser.
Abba? Is it Abba?
No. It's a Scottish rock group, but there's a woman named Elizabeth Fraser who sings in glossolalia. She literally, hold on, let me look it up so you guys can. I talked about them before too, the particular group, but she sings in the language. You don't even know what she's saying those people that are initiated knows what she's saying. But
Does this get into MK Ultra too?
they're called the Cocteau twins.
Mm.
Cocteau twins, and everything is revolving around this woman, by the way. Everything is revolving around this Elizabeth Fraser woman, but they even named a comet after her, or a meteor after her last year. But the Cocteau twins, the main singer, if you pull up any of the songs, she sings in glossolalia. She sings in the angels' language. So they let her do that.
Do you think prayer is like our lowest form of that? Like any type of prayer is a language of the angels?
Well, prayer is nothing but a form of meditation.
Mm.
And how they teach us prayer, what we do, we take a archetype, we take Jesus or God as an archetype, which we did former ancient civilizations. It was substituted as something else, whatever it was. And we use the archetype to be a filtering of our vibrational output. And that archetype raises up to the frequencies of what we're trying to emit in the universe. So we're just using servitors as a spiritual component to emit frequency out to the universe. That's all prayer is. But if you master meditation, there's different types of meditation. There's a cosmic meditation, because meditation, everything meditates. The plants meditate. Everything meditates constantly, because you have to go into a state of rest. Once you go into the state of rest, you enter into the infinity, the akash, when you go into the state of rest, which is chaos. The cosmic meditation is how to manipulate the physical world by literally integrating the subconscious into the vibrational output. So now when you get prophets, or you get certain people that they will call renowned as priests or priestesses, they know how to literally put their subconscious, their infraconsciousness into that vibrational output. Instead of asking the universe or God or Jesus to do this for me, they're literally commanding the universe to do it for them. And that's when you're on the God level. When you're doing
like Kabbalah, that's what I learned. I got this book called Awakening the Kabbalah, and pretty much the beginning synopsis kind of describes what you mentioned. They say like you kind of like in Kabbalah you replace God with your desire or whatever. Like you.
Yeah, Kabbalah is showing you these glyphs, these sephirotic glyphs that become the tree of life in the Bible. And there's a reverse, the tree of knowledge that God told you not to eat from. That's the realm of the subconscious. God, that creator, once again, told you he didn't want you eating from that knowledge tree. The knowledge tree is the tree of the subconscious. The subconscious can be tapped into as a powerhouse to get whatever you want out the physical dimension. It's like a cheat code. Your subconscious is the cheat code to getting what you want out of the third dimensional reality. But we exist in fourth, fifth. And some people even exist in higher dimensions, depending on your spiritual lineage. Your ancestors went to even further dimensions. And all of this is multiversal. So each 1 through 5, multidimensionally, you have other avatar forms of yourself. And that's what are the aliens out here, and are nothing but avatar forms of ourselves that we remote view through their body, and they remote view through our body in reflection to where they're at. This is some high physics that people not understanding.
Yeah, I totally. The spaceship is really a tetrahedron. What's that tetrahedron? What is it? It's a word for it.
Merkaba.
Merkaba. But Eon, I know you've been sitting here being very quiet, so I want you to, if you had a question.
No, one of the things actually it triggered a memory I had. It's an incident that happened where I was on Periscope way back, like probably 2019, and this guy was like doing some shady stuff, but I could tell he had ill intentions. I kind of picked up on like he was trying to like mislead people in a way. I can't remember the conversation, but Basically, he was saying some stuff like when I was talking to him, he just switched up and he started like I said something to the point like let him know that I know what you're doing, and he got all nervous and basically started spewing like he had like a trench coat on and stuff. He looked like an agent, and he started saying these like words almost like MK Ultra, like. And I know he said something about Lakers, and then they won the same year. So, and he just like ended the live. It was interesting.
It happens, you know. It happens.
Yeah.
So
I even think that those like people that SHOOT people at like they I think that those people that do that because they all seem to have the same weird story. Like out of nowhere, they just show up and terrorize everybody. Then they get off, and then because whatever they're expendable, right? And like I'm like, you just go into the situation as a sacrifice of yourself, and you go and off a certain amount of people in that crowd, and then you just there's no plan, and you just and then all of a sudden I guess the plan is to end your own self at the end of it, so no one could trace back exactly that the program that you were sent there on. Because I'm like, what would just get someone to just decide they want to go into a crowd and do and mass harm people,
most of them are MK Ultra program. They've been collected.
Yeah.
And the reason why it's so seamless is because the FOP, the fraternity of police, is such a powerful stronghold on the like people. I was telling somebody last time I was incarcerated. I said, bro, TV is all about making the bad guys look like the good guys. The firefighters, the police, all the Masons, the people that are really on the ground, boots on the ground. It's to make them look like their job is just a normal job and they're out there catching bad guys. When in reality, they're using social engineering on all of us. Like that's how I feel.
Right. I agree. What you were saying, Eon?
Yeah, I was saying in that moment, it's like I didn't really say, but it's like I knew what he was doing couldn't work on me because I'm consciously aware. And you
Right.
can't program that into my subconscious. But he just ended the thing. He's like, well, I have to go, guys, and he just closed it. And it's like it just tells me that vibrations will work. Like you can, that's in action before even words. You know?
Right. Your spirit picked up on it. And like I said, we have a spiritual lineage that there's certain people that just know. They're like, oh, all right, you don't have to say it or express it. You just know. I know you're trying to pull some bullshit on me or you're trying to throw something on me. But I will leave, tell people this before I got to get up out of here in a second. But people aren't putting no curses on you. That's one thing I be telling people when you do consultations with me. I've been a spiritual counselor for over 8 years. Your subconscious makes the curse real. So when people come to me, which they have plenty of times talking about, hey, how do I get this curse off me? How do I get this person, get the juju off me? Your subconscious, your infraconsciousness is making that thing real. These people do not have the advanced enough science to know how to literally curse a person, let alone tell you they cursed you, even if they got a piece of your hair and they wrapped it up in a voodoo doll and pissed on it and threw it off a cliff. They don't have the science to curse you. They don't have the power to curse you unless you give them the power. So coming to me telling me that somebody cursed you, you just gave them the power right there, subconsciously.
Right. Fear kind of feeds it.
Right.
In this vibration. Go ahead.
And especially if we're all here and everything is kind of a destiny is there. You have a destiny. There's no one can curse your destiny, whatever you're meant to be and whatever you are in this lifetime. So that would mean that person was bigger than God. They have more control than God does at that point. And you are God, so therefore, yeah.
Hold on 1 second. Your destiny and your karma. I just wanted to let people understand what you were saying right there. Your destiny and karma is programmed through the planets. So you look into your chart, you can see your destiny and karma. But guess what? Our soul gives us the ability to manipulate our destiny. So your planets can tell you, hey, when you turn 30, when you go in your Saturn return, you may get cancer. Your literal planetary, your planetary chart can show you when something's going to occur with you. But you have the power. That's what the soul gives us, the ability of God to change our destiny. That's what we have the ability to do with the soul.
Right.
So some people go through a life just following what the planets is going to do to them. Then other people are going to look at the planets as a chart to see this is what I need to affect in myself to change the trajectory of where my soul or my destiny line or point is going to be, whether I'm going to incarnate again and do this human thing again, or whether I'm going to evolve and go to these hyperdimensional spheres of reality where these scientists are trying to develop machines and look at it. We're actually going to experience it.
Right.
So my
look at
question, Ani, is, so
Yeah.
you, so
Like
my question for you,
they're trying to make it like this. Oh, they're trying to look into that little hole and see
Right.
and see the other dimensions.
so
Right.
Ani, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
So, do you subscribe? So, like, after this, like, what is a good outcome for, like, if what you believe wins? Like, because me personally, I'm Muslim, and I study, you know what I'm saying, with you guys, and I watch Donut, I watch all of you guys, and Juan, especially when he started dropping the homunculus stuff, because I love Full Metal Alchemist. It completely blew my mind when I was younger. So,
Yeah. Great show.
absolutely. And the media is watching you guys, because I kid you not, now they're starting to mention homunculus, like they're like trying to like initiate the masses, because I feel like Juan has done damage. You know what I'm saying? You guys are doing, like, you guys are weird, like the truther community is doing damage by bringing like things that they probably weren't expecting us to like comprehend at this point. You know, like the homunculus thing.
Right.
Like, I just seen something in mainstream media about it, and I'm like, that's kind of creepy. But my question is, like, do you believe, like, what does the greater good winning look like to what, like, in your spiritual perspective, I guess? Like, because me personally, it's like, me being a Muslim, we believe the Mahdi is going to come, and then the Dajjal will appear, and then Jesus comes back. Like, I believe those things will literally take place. But for you, is that like just like the collective good winning against evil? Like, what does that?
Well, first of all, my next video, I'm gonna be decoding the CBS TV series Evil, and I will be giving you a breakdown metaphysically from the Zohar, which the Zohar is where the Kabbalah comes from. It's called the
Yep.
Book of Life.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be giving you a definition, condensed from what I gave on Patreon to what evil is, because evil isn't even what people think it is. So you have to understand what evil is, which is really, if you look at it from a caliphotic sense, the tree of knowledge, it means separation. Evil just means separation. We were separated from a cosmos into a physical avatar. That's evil in itself, to separate us from our mother.
To be quite honest, me being coming from an Ifa, there is no good or evil. It's just balance or imbalance.
Well, that's the right. That's is what I'm saying in different terms, that our understanding of evil and good is different. Mm-hmm. From a religious setting. See, the religion, I told you, they keep you out of the mystery schools, and they keep you like a child. And I'm literally saying this because a child doesn't have the intellectual ability to debate with a 21 to 50-year-old.
Right.
They don't have the intellectual ability. So when we're talking in the realm of metaphysics, a person that's conditioned strictly by religion isn't going to be able to raise in vibrational fields of gods, because you're approaching this as a human. Mm-hmm. The ancestors telling you got to come to a God level. And even the word God is a Nordic 6th century term that means a blonde-haired entity, a blonde-haired deity. Even
I heard it also meant to pour out. That God came from like GAUD, to pour out.
Nah, it comes from Goth or Got, G-O-T-T, mm-hmm. And it means a blonde-haired deity, literally.
Like Hermes, like when you see a picture of Hermes Trismegistus.
More like Odin. It means Odin.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is Nordic. Mm-hmm. Hermes comes from Jehuti in Egypt. Hermes is the Greek form of Jehuti, and Mercury is the planetary form of Hermes and Jehuti. But my point of saying this is that what's going to happen from a standpoint of how you're looking at it from a religious sense is that a hyperdimensional conscious spirit that's not even a part of this dimension is going to come down and merge with this dimension. That merging point is the return of the Christ, Jesus, whatever you want to call it. And the emittance from the amalgamation of both of these realities coming together is going to cause the implosion, and it's going to erase this shit that we call the physical, and we're going to go back into primal sound and vibration, whereas we don't have a physical body. We're able to traverse the entire cosmos in vibrational forms. Jesus is coming back to reset the time, or the Christ is coming back to reset this thing. This resetting is coming from the actual spiritual lineages inside of the melanin, inside of the carbon of the people who've returned to give that vibration back to the world. So that is anybody who's giving knowledge and making dents into the matrix fields of the illusion, they would be considered the Christ in an ancient world, and they were persecuted for it. What did they call me? They would call me a conspiracy schizo wacko. Cool.
Or they say heretic. They say heretic. The Roman Catholic Church will call you
a heretic, whatever. I'm saying, like the trolls today on the internet will call me a schizo. They'll call me a conspiracy theorist. They'll call me a wacko. They'll call me whatever they want to call me. That's cool. That means I'm doing the work.
Right.
If you call me, that's why it don't bother me. I'll troll back with people. I'll say, motherfucker, your head fucked up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Much information I know, I'll clown back. I can jump into my root.
I have a question.
I can jump back into my root chakra and I can out troll your ass.
Right.
So you're saying that's what happens? Don't you think that happens when you die anyway? When you actually
not to everybody.
When you leave this earth, when your spirit leaves your body and goes into the ether, does it not go into that realm?
When your spirit leaves the body, it goes in the astral plane. Ether is a different aspect to it's like the heaven of the astral plane. Your spirit, most people go to the astral plane and they bounce around. They bounce around the astral plane, and because you didn't do nothing with your consciousness while you were physical, when you're in the third dimension, you didn't do nothing to acclimate yourself to the astral plane. These archons come down and grab you and put you back into the physical plane.
Samsara.
Right back to the matrix, and now you were Asian big-headed guy somewhere on an island.
Samsara, like in Hinduism, Samsara, the cycle of rebirth. Samsara, for people who don't.
The Samsara wheel
Yep.
is karma, because you didn't do what you were supposed to do. See, now that you heard me give you this information, you've been actually initiated in the mystery school. You have no excuse of escaping this dimension. You either choose to understand what I'm saying and you build on it, or you just say that's some cool stuff. I like that, but I'm really going to believe in this other stuff. And if you're not really penetrating meditative cosmic consciousness, if you don't know how to raise that vibration and really get into that consciousness, understanding the system of the ohms, the ram, the ram, the lams, these real systems that come from Atlantis. These are real metaphysical systems that can open up hyperdimensional spaces to your other avatar bodies. So when you leave, when you actually die, you take your last breath in a physical sense, you've already experienced those realities in a meditation. So it's easy for you when you leave the body. You're like, oh shit, I've been in this plenty of times meditation. I'm taking my ass over here. I'm gonna go over here. I know this. I know how this feels over here because I've
lucid dreaming, almost like lucid, like being like meditating and then being able to lucid dream or something like that.
Right, being conscious. There's that word again. Being conscious of where you are. If you don't get into this advanced form, what I'm talking about, something else has to decide for you instead of you. Because it's like you're a child. You're like, oh, this motherfucker he was in the physical doing whatever. We're just gonna send his ass right back. We're gonna send her right back. Yeah.
Now, do you think two things can be true at once? Do you think like this? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Yep.
Let Eon go. I answer that question though. Go ahead.
All right. Now I was just thinking. So, do you feel that ignorance is evil then? Like the
Right.
essence of like it would be a separation in a way because you're separated from the light.
There you go. There you go. You already know the answer. Ignorance is probably the Egyptians said the only evil was ignorance, and ignorance means not knowing, and not knowing is not having the light.
The Bible says, "My people are destroyed from lack of knowledge."
Right. Right. That's all it is evil. They're destroyed by evil, which is a lack of knowledge. Being separated from the light. The light, once you understand something, what happens? You say, I understand it. That's light.
You can feel it too. You can feel that like you said, that you can feel that tingle in your mind or your
That's the shift in the conscious fields I'm talking about. Now imagine being able to feel that feeling and expand it into a feeling of that it's called synergons. Being able to expand it to a point where you can literally enter into that feeling instead of experience it from a physical point of view. This is the highest of the mystery schools. This is understanding shit that no Babalao or none of these quantum physicists, none of these motherfuckers come up and tell you this stuff, because these people that talked about it, they told your ass that it wasn't going to be present right in front of your face. You have to dig and find the information, and that's by not being a part of one school. See, the good thing about me, I'm not a part of one thing, but I know a little bit about everything. So I don't discriminate. I'm gonna go into E5. If they don't like Palo, I'm gonna go look at the Palo shit. Islam don't like Christianity, I'm gonna look at both of them. And not only that, I'm gonna find out the esoteric versions of that too. I'm gonna go back and study it all. And studying it all is chaos. You say, so you're saying a melanated person can be reincarnated into a white and Asian person? Yeah, absolutely. White and Asian people come from melanated people, right?
Right. Now, like you said earlier, it is all connected. That's what I'm starting to notice too. Like when I'm studying like the Kabbalah, I'm seeing the same things I'm seeing on other sides of the esoteric spectrum. Like it's all pointing towards the same thing. But really, what I wanted to say is, when you said how the Illuminati earlier, how they say if it serves you, use it. I think I seen a video where they call that chaos magic. And it reminded me of when Kanye switched over to Christianity to invoke that Christianity, that Christian energy. Like he's like I see him as a chaos magician, even more now with the new wave he's on. He's definitely using chaos magic.
Yeah, but he don't know shit about no chaos magic. But yeah, I guess you're saying he is being an apparatus of serving chaos magic, of stirring up things. Yeah. Because chaos magic can be used for that, but chaos magic also can be used what I'm telling you before: hyperdimensional consciousness. You know, leaving certain fields and understanding that there is apparatuses to dimensionality that's far beyond just understanding it. It's actually experiencing it, and that's what chaos magicians do. They don't care where it comes from, just like the Illuminati say, but they actually believe in metaphysics. The people of the Illuminati, they believe in a material cosmology. They believe everything comes from a inorganic organism or mechanism. They believe that the cosmic organism we call God is actually a materialistic scientific equation, and it has nothing to do with that.
Oh, you mean like the original, the Adam Weishaupt, like the original? Or
yeah, the original Illuminati. They believe that everything is a materialistic cosmology, and there is a scientific equation to explain it all.
Have you ever seen the anime 7 Deadly Sins?
Yeah, I started it. I didn't finish it. Yeah, but
yeah, if you continue watching it, they actually touched on a couple topics like divine possessions that like you did a video on. But I don't want to spoil it, but they talk about chaos and how it birthed basically both polarities and stuff in a way. Well, as in it manifested in both forms.
I'm gonna have to check it out. I'm looking at Solo Leveling right now. Somebody told me to look at Solo Leveling.
I think what about, have you seen Bleach: The 1,000-Year Blood War yet? It's on.
I haven't seen. I've seen some graphics of that big meteorite and I know what that means,
Now,
but I haven't. Mhm.
I was gonna say I'd love for you to explain the meteorite, but you were talking about how they in Gnosticism that Yahweh is seen as we all like the demiurge. That's exactly what they're like in Bleach. The main antagonist or the bad guy, his name is they're literally calling him Yahweh in the show. So I think you'd love it, and like he's trying to overcome the heavens. Now, me as being a Muslim, I don't necessarily prescribe to that. Like I worship Yahweh, but I appreciate y'all fighting the good fight. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not here to like try to argue or anything like that. Like I'm not saying that to be like, oh, well, I disregard what you guys are saying. But me personally, I worship Yahweh. So, but I just find it fascinating how they're literally teaching Gnosticism right in anime, like just plain as day.
Like I said, I mean, there's an esoteric form. Yahweh, you can look at it as you're the creator of your own world. But Yahweh within itself, you can study this, how far back it goes into history. I can tell you what island the word Yahweh comes from. It comes from an island, actually. But literally, this is what is the great mistake of this dimension. Until we understand that, it's not like Yahweh is good or bad. Just like I said earlier, Yahweh is just what the soul has to experience to realize that there is somewhere that it came from. It's not a part of Yahweh. Yahweh is what we have to go through to realize what we came from. So it's a part of the alchemy to experience Yahweh in this realm called the physical. And if we didn't do that, then we wouldn't be able to alchemize into higher states. So it's a part of it. And look at it. We're in alchemizing energy. Isn't that something?
Yeah. So, and also, like you say, it's ironic that you mentioned these feelings and sensations, because I don't think most people understand the word rapture means ecstatic joy. It's a feeling, though. A rapture is a feeling.
But you know what? A lot of those words that you're saying were not even what it said in the actual Hebrew text. It was probably something completely different. So people are interpreting an English word that probably wasn't even what it said in the book anyway. But hey, look, okay, a lot of these things you got to ask him. Watch Overlord, Demiurge. Where are y'all getting these movies from? What is it?
Those are animes. Those are animes.
Oh, okay. So there's some deep stuff in anime. Okay.
Yeah, people look, black people really sleep on animes. Animes have a lot of esoteric science on it. If you look at it and you have the knowledge to interpret it, Attack on Titan. Original melanated people were Titans. All that Anunnaki stuff, Elohim stuff, is talking about the ancestral versions of those Titans and what we're dealing with today.
And also the like Attack on Titan, Fullmetal Alchemist. We're like low-key playing these situations out. If you look at that the Jerusalem, I'll say that. I don't know if that word is the way that land is going to be the center of the world is basically like Paradise Island. How the small group of people will be going against all of humanity is kind of similar to like, you know, like, and even with Fullmetal Alchemist, like it was really like they were like the NAZYs, but really it's what we're dealing with today. Yeah, the people. Yeah, so it's fascinating.
So everyone is black. If a melanated person can be reincarnated, bring that back up. What that person just said. If a melanated person can be reincarnated as a white person, then they basically lost their melanin. I think people don't know what melanin is. Melanin doesn't make you just black, because there's several forms of melanin. You have allomelanin, you have pheomelanin. You have all these different forms of melanin. You have neuromelanin. Everybody has neuromelanin in their brain. You couldn't even think without neuromelanin. When you're talking skin color, that's what that person is talking about. Skin color is melanocytes. We have to get that nipped in the bud. A melanocyte changes your skin color. Your skin color is affected by melanocytes. We all have melanin. Melanin, like what Magic Lacra is talking about, and shout out to that brother. That's what makes everyone carbon. There's carbon, but the difference between what they're trying to say with melanated people and what we will call Caucasian or European people from that descent, or separated from an Asian person, a Hawaiian person, an Arab person. All of these differences is a splicing of the melanin. It's the same thing. If I splice and I take the melanin and I splice it a little bit and I mix it around, from generation to generation, it's going to produce different forms of the melanin. It's going to produce a brown, it's going to produce a light brown, it's going to produce a dark black, it's going to produce all of these, produce completely white, because white people can have albinos, right? Have you ever seen an albino white person? Can you pull that up, DJ Genesis?
Also, cats can have albinos, roaches can have albinos, raccoons can have albinos.
Pull up a Caucasian albino. So basically, I'm saying that's a white person.
Right.
What?
I mean, Caucasians are Neanderthals, and Asians are hominids, and we are what's it called?
Homo sapien.
Yeah.
Homo sapien sapien. And all of them come from Homo sapien sapien. But if you want to go to the occult text, they go even deeper. Go get the book by what's the Mason name? What is his name? I keep forgetting.
Pike?
Not Pike. He wrote the book
Manly P. Hall?
Manly P. Hall on the 7 root races. Look up the 7 root races. And when he breaks down the 7 root races, he breaks it down cosmically, how we got here, from a cosmic sense, all the way up. He even tells us what's going to be the last race. He says the last race is going to have 2 spinal cords.
What?
Yep. Just like the 2 towers, Jacqueline and Boaz, the 2 towers of Freemasonry. The 2 he knows, because they have ancient manuscripts from the Egyptians and the Sumerians that they never showed the public. They have things we will never see.
Yep.
He knows where it's heading, and they told you where it's heading, because these people, like the Egyptians and the Sumerians, they could see the future like how we watch TV. They will be looking in the future. They'd be looking at us. They didn't need TV. They could go into meditation and watch the future.
Do you think we're cut off from these type of I agree that like back then they were so much more spiritually adept. Do you think it was a need for it back then, and now since we're at the end of the story, that there's no need for us to like look into the future or to have certain
Why do we think it's an end to a story?
Well, me personally, what I believe, and from my religious perspective, we live in the end of days. So it's like
the end of days happen at different times for different people. Tomorrow might be the end of somebody else's day. Grandma might be the end of that. But we're constantly thinking that we're always going to have like this doomsday thing. But I don't believe in it. I'm sorry.
It's not literal. See, that's what religion does to us. It's not literal. It's not talking about the end of days from a religious perspective. The end of days is the end of an age. That's all they're talking about religiously. An age lasts 2,600 years. So when they're talking about end of days, go ahead.
It's true, because there is it's going to I believe in Islam, it is going to be paradise earth, or the Bible says New Jerusalem. So it is it's not going to be the end all be all. It's supposed to be us living in a higher, or like the realm God intended us to be in. Paradise earth is what they call it. So
yeah, well, the paradise earth is esoteric to the hyperdimensional planes. 26,000 years. Thank you, Thailand. The paradise earth, the paradise Jerusalem, the world to come, Olam Haba in the Kabbalah, the Tikkun is talking about a whole other dimension, not physical. They speak in parables about dimensionality. That's all they're talking about. So, bring that back up, Genesis, about the black genetics. That person is infatuated with the genetics. But it's interesting because their questions is what a lot of people have been asking. No, I'm talking about the comet. It was a comet from, what was the person named? Thunder? So Black genetics make up our different hair voice abilities. What about Henrietta Lacks? Black's genes and DNA is used in everything. Yeah, I mean, that's saying something without saying anything. We know that if we are first,
right,
we're the first hominids. Yeah, they're going to look into our DNA. That's why I knew the alien thing was all a hoax. The whole gray aliens is all a hoax, because why would someone from millions of light years away only look at white people?
right.
Why wouldn't they be in the hood studying these people who have ancestors go back hundreds of thousands of years, you know?
Yep. You talking about like the abductions and stuff like and
yeah.
Alaska and all that. Yeah, yep.
Yeah, and how they separate extraterrestrial science from dimensionality. The real science of extraterrestrial, ultra-terrestrialism, ufology, the UFOs, is in hyperdimensionality. Goes back to the same thing. Studying dimensionality, going 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, up to the 11th, you start to see entities that don't have a place in human consciousness for us to understand, and that becomes alien.
Right.
You begin to hear voices, just like in biblically, Moses, all these people saying they saw fire and voices coming. It's talking about something in meditation, something that occurred cosmically in traversing the mental spheres of mental development, that something occurred, a experience that they went through was alien to them. And they just regarded it to either God, they regarded it to the Elohim, to aliens, to angels, to demons. And all it is an experience of hyper dimensionality, which is so many dimensions rapidly that we don't have a science to understand it yet. That's why I call hyperdimensionality. And this is what they're trying to understand. This is what this whole thing is about.
Even in Islam,
no, go ahead.
Well, even in Islam, Allah says He's the Lord of the worlds. So He's kind of alluding to there being more than meets. And He also said, like in Islam, it's a mandatory belief in the unseen world. You know, so that's why that's why I love Islam. That's why I find Islam to be my ground, because anytime I do search the esoteric, I go back to Islam and I find evidence of these things also existing within the realm of, you know, what I'm taught in Islam. So
yeah, I mean, your karma is to be in Islam. That's your karma. There's nothing wrong with that. But you better believe that Islam is just a piece of the puzzle. If you don't utilize all of the pieces, you will be coming back to do it again.
Well, I mean, I read the Bhagavad Gita, and seeing that was what like that also inspired me to like understand that Hinduism might not be what it used to be, but in the Gita it talks about like how if you eat spicy foods, you'll have a spicy, like there's so much like that breaks down, like, you know, like these actual literal things, these literal practices that are.
And I didn't mean that last statement to you, brother. I mean that statement, I speak directly in generalization.
Yes, sir.
I'm saying that wherever you're in, cool. I'm not here to judge you. I'm here to tell you, if you don't look into other shit, he who knows one book knows none. So that's a parable of saying, study your shit.
Yeah,
and it's going to come from all directions. And I already know you understand that, because you're I already hear you articulate yourself. You're a very advanced person. Even though you're in Islam, you're very advanced. So
praise the Lord. Thank you.
Yeah, so let me ask you this: is that I've really real quick. Now, when we talk about the Kabbalah, when you read your Kabbalah, are you reading it in Hebrew or are you reading it in English?
You asking me or
anyone who reads the Kabbalah? Because what I understood, because I actually I had like several Kabbalah, like they come in different, I guess like different.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Zohar is like the book of Kabbalah, but Kabbalah is a
No. There's different volumes of it, and I had different volumes of the Kabbalah, like
You're talking about the rabbis. Rabbis give you
the Talmud. Is she talking about the Talmud?
No, she's talking about the Kabbalah. The volumes are based on a rabbi's philosophy. So you're looking at somebody else's philosophy.
No. It was the Kabbalah because it was like the different. I can't describe.
There ain't volume. Listen, there's not volumes of the Kabbalah. There's the Sephiroth. You have 10 spheres of the Sephiroth, which starts with Kether, and it goes down to Malkuth. Then you have the Klipop, which starts with Lilith and ends with Thaumiel at the top. There isn't volumes of this. There's different philosophies, interpretations of the spirit, but it's the same thing. It's all the same thing. It's showing the process of creation. It's on the Sephiroth, the 10 glyphs, and the process of destruction is the 11 glyphs of the Klipop, which is called the demon world, the shells of reality, the shells we exist in. The word shell is what the word hell comes from, the Hebraic word Sheol or Sheol. It means it basically means it's the transliteration of school. That the shell, the physical body, is the school.
Wow. Sheol.
And when you go to school to graduate to the universe, that's why you go to university.
Wow. Yep, that's true.
You see? So it's all hidden there. Hebrew is the language of light. So you're going to find a lot of stuff that you see in English and other languages that is connected to Hebrew. There's even older languages than Hebrew too, that Hebrew gets its stuff from. Even the Egyptian, the Coptic Egyptian, they Hebrew, they stuff from that too. So my point is that
let me finish what I was going to say. Whatever this book I had, okay, actually how I got it was a dude, he was in prison and he got this book. Okay, and it was a pretty thick book. Whatever, it was several books, okay? And it was written in Hebrew, and you had to read it in Hebrew backwards, cuz not from right to left, or from
yeah.
And you're not putting you're just supposed to look at it, and eventually it tells you what it means. That's what we were told. Is there's no translation of it. You look at the words and the shapes of the words, and
it's translated. It's translated.
Okay, because that's what when we had that Zohar, that book, because it was several of them. I don't know if why it was several like it was broken up, the Zohar, into different sections or whatever. I don't know. And when we went to a Jewish like a priest or something, she told my friend that they're supposed to you're supposed to look at the words, because they were like, where's the translation of this? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's a Hebrew book and you're supposed to just look at it and then it'll tell you what it means. I'm like, what?
Well, that book is for a person who could read Hebrew. Yeah. But you can get the translation of it. You can get the same translation of the Hebrew, and they got it in different forms, different philosophies. They got it fit for whatever you want to look at it as. But they don't translate this stuff millions of times over.
Yes.
Like it's known. They know how it works.
And Ani, also to your point, I think what she's trying to say is like, where do we get this Kabbalistic knowledge? And in Kabbalah, the word Kabbalah means to receive. So
there we go. Book of Splendor, Book of Formation, the Talmud.
You're talking about what does it mean? Okay. You asked what is the etymology of Kabbalah? Yes, it's to receive light. But the Kabbalah itself comes from the temple of Kamombo in Egypt. They have the tree of life. They have the same goddamn tree you see on the Kabbalah in the temple of Kamombo in Egypt. That's where they got it from.
Yes, sir. And I was saying that to say that you like, it's almost like you have to, like, when I started I found a book in the library store called Awakening to the Kabbalah, and this isn't my first time trying to embark on understanding what these people understand, or like embark on Kabbalah. But when I tell you, I started to like receive understanding, like I started to be able to like, I don't know, like you got to be almost chosen, I guess, to answer your question. Like, it's not to be arrogant or anything like that, but it's like that's what most Kabbalists believe. Like it happens naturally. Like you're given this knowledge from a higher source. Like it's coming to you. So there's not really a book that you can read to actually is the Kabbalah. The like Kabbalah is what you're going to experience from seeking that knowledge. I mean,
right.
Yeah,
exactly. That's exactly what it is. I understand what you're saying. But family, I got to get up out of here. It was
Yes,
good.
sir.
We did good conversation, and I
Yes,
appreciate.
I'd like to thank you guys for joining the panel. Really quick, I want to get some last words from him. And Star, did you want to say something real quick? And I'll drop you down, and then we'll do our last words and say goodbye. Star.
I think they're just up. Okay, yeah, she dropped down.
Yep.
Okay. Eon, you had any last thing to say? I think he's just there. All right, Josiah, any last thing to say?
Assalamu alaikum. You know what I'm saying? That's praise be to Allah. And I appreciate it, Ani. I appreciate it. Like you know what I'm saying? I've been watching for a minute. You know, Juan got me really, really locked in. Like seeing like with the smaller channel, like Donut's channel is a lot larger, so it feels like it's harder to like have input and stuff. But I appreciate you allowing me on the panel. You know what I'm saying? May Allah reward you. You know what I'm saying? Man, you know, however that comes to you. You know what I'm saying? And may Allah reward you as well, ma'am. So yeah, praise God. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you too, man. Very good stuff you brought to the panel today.
Thank you. And I'm DJ Genesis, and this is Ani Osaru. So what do you want to wrap up with? What do you want to say? I really appreciate you coming up here. This is awesome. This is our first time. Actually, I just met you yesterday, and this was just awesome. It was a great panel. This was amazing.
I would just say the beginning of something good and great. People continue to do your research. My bad, I need some water. I've been talking for a minute.
Right.
And just do your research. There's not one truth, there's many truths. And whatever you heard today, whatever I told you, I can give you scholarship. If you want something, I can point you in the direction of scholarship and continue to expand your mind, expand consciousness, and you'll be okay.
Ashe. Well, normally when also please y'all, please join my just as much as I subscribe, my people are subscribing to you. Please get people to come and subscribe on my side. We have like a lot of different shows about a lot of different subjects, from politics, spirituality to, into like, just people everyday lives. And so please show some support to this channel. Thank you guys, thank everybody for being here. And also Ani, when we end our show, we say one last thing, and it's DJ take us out of here. So just that's all you gotta say, and we could just say good night.
Peace, and thank you for having me.
What you gotta say? DJ take us out of here.
Oh, I have to say that?
Yeah.
Okay, DJ, take us out of here.
Alchemize your energy. Darling, let your spirit be free. Don't give up. Keep on pushing through. Now is the time. It's all up to you. Alchemize your energy. My friend, let your spirit be free. Don't give up, keep on pushing through. Now is the time, it's all up to you. No matter the storm, but over tragedy. No matter the storm, but over tragedy. No matter the storm, we will always take flight. Keep on pushing through the darkness of night. There's no limit, let's reach for the sky. Shine so bright, from darkness to light.